In this video, we'll be looking at section 2.3. Solving quadratics using square roots. So our essential question will be, how do I use square roots to solve quadratics? But the first thing we want to look at is kind of like the reverse idea and look at what it means to square a number. And then we'll look at square rooting a number. So what I just wanted to point out was 2 squared is equal, let's not use 2. So 3 squared is equal to 9. But also, if I do negative 3 squared, that would also equal 9. So if I'm taking the square root of 9, say I have x squared equals 9. If I'm solving, we take the square root of both sides. And I would have x equals, well, we just saw that 3 squared equals 9 and negative 3 squared equals 9. So I would get x equals 3 and x equals negative 3. So anytime we take the square root of both sides, we end up with this positive and negative value of the square roots. So let's use this and see if we can solve a quadratic by taking a square root. This will be our steps. Here is our example. So our equation we will be looking at is negative 2/3 times x minus 4 squared plus 5 equals negative 1. So the first thing we do is isolate the square. So I want to get, so what that means, square, I'm going to underline that. I'm trying to isolate this piece right here. So we'll go through our solving techniques. So the first thing I would do is subtract 5 from both sides. These 5 cancel. Bring down my equal sign, I get negative 6. All this stuff comes straight down. And now I need to get rid of this fraction, so I'll multiply both sides by the reciprocal. These fractions will cancel. And then I'll get multiplying fractions together. We have our hidden 1. So I get negative 18 over negative 2. And then over on this side, we just bring all of our square down. And then I'll simplify my negative 18 over negative 2. That's positive 9. Now we're ready to take the square root of both sides. And this is where the two answers will, or the two solutions will pop up. So they're not like our overall x equals, but this is where it splits up into our two equations to solve. So when I take the square root of 9, I'll get a positive 3 and a negative 3. And the square root just kind of knocks out the square right here. So what we have is we're going to have two equations now. You don't need the parentheses. Like that. So that would have been our step 2. So we take the square roots of both sides. The equation splits into two pieces. Kind of like similar to when we were factoring and solving. We're going to split it into these two pieces. Here's my first piece, x minus 4 equals positive 3. Square root of 9 is positive 3. And then x minus 4 equals negative 3. Square root of 9 can be negative 3. And then our last step is just to solve. So we'll solve. I'll add 4 to both sides. We get x equals 7. And the same idea on this one, adding 4 to both sides, and I get x equals 1. And that is how we can solve quadratics by taking square roots. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.